Let's go. Yeah. Splat, drip, splat, wait,
Hey, yo, Little Mexico, pass the gas.
Don't really wanna slow with me. Put that Glock down, boy, I'll be your worst misery. Catch a feeling that we slipped out in the street. Pull up in a level 10 and G. Don't really wanna slow with me. Put that Glock down, boy, I'll be your worst misery.
Alright, so what is up YouTube? Back here again with another video for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about my 2018 Yamaha YXZ. It is the 1000R stick shift model, so it does have 3 pedals. We're going to be talking about the 10 things I do hate about my YXZ here. So the first thing that I do have to complain about the YXZ is its lack of power. Basically slow. It's all motor, so there's no turbo like all the other cars that are out there, the UTVs. As much as I have done to it with an exhaust, you know, like the tune on it, like the EGR block off plates, intake and the plenum and stuff, like without tearing apart the motor, it's still not that fast. But the good thing is, slap a turbo on here and it'll be pretty damn fast. All right, and the second thing that I do hate about the YXZ is the lights are basically pointing down. The whole front end of the car is pointing to the floor. I don't know why they would do that. Also, the top cover, like the bumper piece of the YXZ, is covering 45% of the lighting on here, so the full round light is not being exposed. You don't get that much lightage out of the stock car, but I added a light bar, as you can see, so now I don't really have to complain about the lighting. Just if you're stock, the light kind of sucks, honestly, a lot. And now moving on to the third thing I do hate about my YXZ is gonna be the stock roll cage. I know we have an aftermarket cage on here now. My brother built it custom, but the stock cage had to go. It looked ugly. I had it on for 3 years, which is a long ass time, and I rolled twice. Somehow didn't die. The cage held up surprisingly, but now we got some safety on here thanks to my brother. The thing that sucks about them, the stock cages are literally like tin can material. They suck. I've seen so many accidents with them that the cages like literally flatten out. They do not withhold any type of rollover, and fuck that rooster. All right, take fucking 4,809. What was I saying? All right guys, so the stock cage is a no-go. Good thing I replaced it. My brother got me nice and safe now. And another good plus about putting an aftermarket cage or building one for your YXZ, basically stiffens up the car and makes it more rigid. You can feel the difference between the stock and an aftermarket cage on there. If it's built right, the car feels way more rigid and sturdy while driving, handling, all that good stuff. So talking about the fourth topic here, is gonna be the radiator in the front. I know a lot of people complain about it, even I'm kind of complaining about it, but it's not that big of a deal for me, as in like others have to go ahead and do like the relocate. Some people say they overheat. I don't think it overheats. I had the car for over 3 years now and no overheating issues at all. The car actually runs like around 180, 190 in the dunes, hard driving, all that. And it runs 180 to 190 because I do have a tune in it. It's the Packard tune, by the way. That's off topic. Anyways, the cab does get hot because of the radiators in the front and all the coolant lines are going to the back. It doesn't get so hot where I want to like rip the car apart and relocate it. It's not that big of an issue for me. Let's move on to the fifth topic. And the fifth topic is going to be the bucking. When the car was stock, this thing felt like I was riding a damn bull. Sometimes this thing would just buck on every single whoop. Now that I got the long travel on there, the bucking's down to a minimum. I did get the Waller Racing dual spring kit, so the bucking is not crazy at all. I would get a buck once in a while on every other whoop, but for the most part I hit a buck and it just like eats it up, or it kind of floats a little bit, kind of like wants to jump but evenly. It don't want to like nosedive straight. And lawn dart can at least go 50 to 40 down Sand Highway, because that's all this thing got. Obviously, like I said, it's slow, but next year hopefully it's gonna be turboed and we're gonna be going at least 80 to those whoops. Like I was saying, the bucking did suck, so if you plan on getting the YXZ, plan on long traveling it, or I guess deal with riding the bull every time you go out. Moving on to the next topic here, since we're in the back already too, we're gonna go on with number 6. It's gonna be the storage space on this thing. Yes, I did delete the bed, but the bed did not have any type of storage. It was just a big ass piece of plastic weighing down the back, honestly. And it, since the exhaust is right here, the plastic warps in the middle and it kind of looks ugly, so I went ahead and got this bed delete plate made. For the storage on this thing, there's actually no storage at all. Like the RZRs, they have like a center console, and then you got your glove box, and then in the back you actually have like a full-on almost enclosed bed without a lid, but still you can throw stuff back there. This thing, it was open, the bed, you know, it's still like this, and you can just stuff fall out. You do have one compartment here on the left here. It's just a screw-on little tub, kind of really small, and you got a glove box which barely fits my iPhone and like a couple tools. Other than that, there's no storage on this thing at all. There is also obviously storage options like door bags and stuff like that, but all the door bags for the YXZ are ugly, so you gotta like custom do it and do like a insert and for like a rib nut and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into that. Storage is not that big of a deal for me. We only go like on maybe 2-3 hour rides the most. We're not like going on, you know, long ass trail rides where we need a grill and all that shit. But all right, and now we're moving on to number 7. It's gonna be the rear diff. The rear diff on this thing is definitely a big weak link on this car, especially if you're gonna try to make power or put any sort of bigger tire on it than stock, which most people want to do. You know, you want more clearance and stuff like that, especially with the long travel. The car gets wider, so with stock tires it gets lower. With the I think they come like 28s or 27s or 6, I don't know, they're small. But one time I put the Tensors 32s on here, and I was driving around Johnson Valley and I went up a hill. I was kind of stuck, and I didn't want to back down, so I went ahead and dumped the clutch and went up, and the rear diff exploded. Yes, I know that was like a good like launch up the hill, but I hear other stories all the time on Facebook posts, Instagram. I've seen a couple YouTube videos too as well, that the rear diff like just grenades, even stock, you know, like with just some mileage on there or something. And this thing didn't even have that much mileage. It's still like at 1,000 miles, and it's like under, I think, 60 hours. I don't use it that much. But yeah, the rear diff is definitely a weak link. There are upgrade options out there, but they are expensive, and right now with like the material shortage and stuff like that, hard to get. Anyways, moving on to number 8 here. The 8th topic on the reason why I don't like the YXZ is gonna be, it sounds like I'm actually bashing the car, huh? But I'm not. I love the YXZ. Anyways, the 8th thing is gonna be the wiring on this thing. The RZRs have basically like a fuse box junction where you can just attach all kinds of wires to it, and it has power on it, so it's with the ignition. It makes wiring simple, and it does even have like spaces to put switches on it, you know what I mean, like those toggle switches. This thing literally has no room for any of that. It just has literally the battery, and that's it. The good thing is there's this company called Switch Pro Official. They make a switch panel which makes everything easier. You literally just hook it up to power, and it has all the internal fusing and everything like that. So that's the only thing that saved the YXZ from before. I had all kinds of wiring running through the middle of the car to the battery, and like putting fuses and all that stuff. So the good thing about, there's alternatives for the YXZ or for any other car, but no room wiring when you have the Switch Pro Official. Alright guys, and now moving on to number 8 is going to be the suspension design. I have no idea why they went with an A-arm setup in the back like if it was a damn Raptor 700, but they did what they did, and you can't do nothing about it. You could do like a whole fabrication on the build, but not really going to go ahead and do all that trouble. The long travel does just fine. The wheelbase is super short stock. I don't know why they did that, and also the width of the car is narrow too as well. I don't know why they did that as well. It doesn't have that much travel and stuff. Stock, obviously. The long travel already cut that out of the equation because it extends the front, I believe, 2 inches and the rear 1, or it can be vice versa, 2 in the rear and 1 in the front. And it also makes it into a 72-inch wide. But with the Packard wheels and the offset, in the rear it's going to be 79, in the front I believe is 78 or 77, I believe, which is pretty damn wide. You could feel the difference when you're driving in the dunes and in the desert. The car is wider, so it feels more planted to the ground. It don't feel like top heavy, I guess you can say. Alright guys, and if you're like the majority of us, the 10th topic that we hate about these things, like me and my brother do, is washing it all the time. But you got to think about it. We spend so much money on these things, you might as well have them clean, you know. There's a lot of money invested in the wheels, the tires alone, the material, the wiring, literally down to a freaking light bar or a little light fog light. You know, you got some money spent into it, especially if you get like the good stuff, which the majority of us do. Might as well keep it clean. We wash it every time we go out, and we wash it when we get back. I know I haven't washed it yet because I left out of town for work, but I'm gonna go ahead and wash it right now after this video, and just might as well keep it clean, guys. But it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes, but I love doing it. It's pretty cool to get like some Instagram shots of pressure washing it. Alright guys, I know it does sound like I was bashing on my YXZ as in if I didn't like it or talking about all the bad things. It's literally just for a YouTube video so some people understand what are the cons about the YXZ. I do love my YXZ so much. I literally wouldn't trade it for anything else, a Can-Am, a RZR, maybe a Can-Am one day, but wouldn't trade it. I will still keep the YXZ just because the horsepower potential on these things, the look of them as well, as you can see, they look badass, and plus it's a Yamaha. You can never go wrong with the Yamaha. They last forever. Look at the Banshee. It's actually my favorite car. I've been in my brother's RZR, and I've been in a Can-Am. They ride really nice, but the only thing is they don't have the looks that I think is the YXZ. They look amazing, and plus they have good horsepower potential, and they're stick shift. It's a good fun driving car. It gets you, you know, interacted with driving, and you feel like an actual like a race car driver, especially with the dog box noise and everything like that. It's just the whole environment of the car is nice. Anyways, if you guys stick around this long into the video, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. See you guys on the next video.